One thing I will say about business, especially, I'm assuming this is a Nigerian, know when to stop.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes you can keep sinking money into a dream, but it's not actually in business. First manager I hired, he left on the first day of the job. Know exactly what you're spending on.
Okay.
And then you can then adjust that accordingly. I think most people, and I find that when I talk to people about money management and stuff, they don't know what they're spending on.
I'm guilty.
It doesn't matter what is entering if you don't know where it's going into finish. Cash is the life flow of a business. I know people will tell you things like 60-40, 50-30, 20. I believe all that is crap. Okay. I think that what we should all do is tailor finance to yourself.
Okay.
If you're earning 100K and spending 80K, you cannot save 20, you cannot save 60%. Because what will happen is, just like we said, by next month, you've pulled it again.
Yeah.
But if you're earning 100K, how much can you realistically save? Okay. What is your savings target? Is it like, I want to save 100K in a year? Okay, that's fine. That's possible. But you can't be earning 100K and saying, I want to save 1 million in a year. How?
Hi and welcome back to another episode. My name is Iwalola Shoboale and today we have with us Isaac Adekanye, in case anybody is coming from that side. Isaac is popularly known as the co-host of a podcast show called Road to 30 podcast. I'm really excited to have him here today. A little bit of background about Isaac. He has a master's in advanced systems control engineering. And an MBA from Lagos Business School. He's also currently running a business called TFG Group. So he's going to be telling us all about that today. Isaac is also an ex-Glovo product manager and he used to be a finance analyst at financial derivatives company. I hope I got that right.
Yes.
So happy to have you here today, Isaac. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't think Isaac is not usually in front of the camera except for his YouTube.
Yeah, I've only started jumping in front of the camera recently, but
yeah, I like your lifestyle content, your finance content, and your games content. Yeah.
I'm trying to have fun on camera, so let's see.
Yeah, you can tell you're having fun actually. Yeah. So I'm really glad to have you here. Before we get started, we're going to do a little game.
Okay.
We are tentatively calling it Techies Assemble. I've given Isaac the deck of cards.
Yes.
Okay, here. So Isaac would shuffle the cards and then pick out a scenario, explain a bit about the scenario and answer the question.
Okay. It's giving what? You remember?
Yes.
Pick 2, pick 3.
Yeah.
Likes. Okay, let's see. To be typical to pick from the top, but let's just cut it again. All right, cool. All right.
Is it the same?
No, you're launching a podcast series. What catchy title and theme will you choose to captivate listeners?
Okay, imagine you're not doing Road to 30.
Yeah.
What else would you?
Okay, I think for a podcast, let me see, what catchy title and theme? I think what I'll probably do is I would say, okay, late 20s diaries. Managing the expectations of Nigeria. I think that's what I'll do. Or I'll say late 20s diaries, surviving and trying to actually outlive your problems in Nigeria. So I'll go for those two.
Actually, you say surviving and trying to outlive your problems. I'm just remembering the other episode of your podcast where Dolly was almost robbed. Like, I remember listening and I was like, mouth agape, like, what's going on here?
Lagos is always trying to take
something. Yeah, he never gives. If he gives you something bad.
The only time that Lagos gives is, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, do I do
another one? Yeah, let's do one more.
Let's go. Okay, cut from the top. Okay, your app experiences a critical bug right before a major launch. How do you identify and fix it while minimizing user impact? Ooh.
Yeah, now.
Before a major launch. Okay, so...
like the night before.
Let's say the night before. I won't lie. And it has gotten me into trouble with previous managers. I'll move that launch.
What?
I will move that launch. Even if it's just for like a day.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously we'll run it, we'll test it in the back, and what exactly is wrong? Where exactly did it go wrong? Maybe it might be on the front end. Maybe is it like our landing pages is slow. Maybe
Okay.
we're not actually caching, maybe, I don't know, names and whatever. I think personally, with the way the world is, I'm the kind of person that I'll probably say, get it as right as you can the first time, even though it might take longer. But people argue otherwise. People say just launch and blah blah. But I feel like with the way the world is, there are too many apps, and first impression is extra important now, right? I've downloaded an app before, and first day I used it wasn't good. I left it. So I personally, I'll be like, let's move because my definition of minimizing user impact would be, even if we are 80% right on the first day, it's better than 30% right. People might argue otherwise, but that's what I would probably do.
I think I would agree, because you would actually get the people who then, sign up, try it out to stick.
Exactly.
The likelihood of that is higher than
they will come your first time and then it's already bad.
Yeah. Because actually, imagine if maybe it's an app that, I don't know, helps you do transcriptions. The first time you try it,
it's now bad. You're not coming
you
back.
just next Google search which
Exactly.
other, and then you move on to the
right
next.
now there is almost no new idea. Like there are like 500 different things. So I'll probably just delay the launch.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Bit more.
Has that happened to you before?
Yes, actually. So at while I was at Glovo, we were trying to launch in the first stack area.
Okay.
And the night before, so we usually launch with a minimum number of restaurants.
Okay.
And the night before, we had some issues with the number of restaurants. It was not funny. That morning, my boss at the time, he did not find it funny, because it's like, there's a minimum threshold. I think at the time it was probably like 25, I think. And we're only at about 15.
So it was way off
the mark. It was way off. And this was something that everybody was looking forward to already. Like, let's launch. And I was like, at that time, I was leading expansion. So it was like, bro, my head is on the line.
So what did you do?
So at the end of the day, what I ended up doing was, we had the big players that we wanted, the people that would, the Pareto thing, the people that would actually take up most of the other. So we just launched with them. We just launched with them. We focused on them. It was all about them. And then as time went on, we now started adding other people, because it's like, they won't come yet for them. They will come for these big people, stay for the others. So let them come first. Yeah. So that was how we were able to manage that.
Interesting.
I didn't manage to push it because it was too big a deal. But we just navigated and focused on the people that were important.
Yeah, I think that made sense at the time.
Yeah.
All right, Isaac, thank you for sharing about the perspective of how you handle those scenarios.
No problem.
So next, we got the audience to send in questions. Some people, you will solve their problems today. You will solve their problems. So Isaac I think he's also quite well known as a finance bro.
Yeah. I call myself an honest finance bro.
Yeah, tank top finance. Yeah, very interesting concept.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we have a couple of questions. Okay. This first person came to fight.
Wow, I'm ready.
He calls himself OG. Okay. He said, "Why TFG? What made you think a park will be a good business?" And I feel like I can sense what's going on.
Okay. Realistically, right, there, like, sometimes you just have to jump in and you find out after. So why TFG is because since I was a kid, my mom and I always thought that we loved the amusement park experience. Okay. So as I got older, I was the kind of person who I would travel literally just for amusement parks, Thor Park, Disneyland, all that stuff. So I enjoyed it. And then when I was in Nigeria and all that stuff, we're looking at an opportunity in the market, right? Maybe there was no market in that opportunity, or as people say it, but there seemed at the time to be an opportunity in the market. So we looked around in the whole state. Some people had tried before, but it didn't work out. So we tried to find out why. We spoke with a lot of locals. And then we saw land that was decent, and everything just aligned at the time, because there were lots of schools, there were a lot of young people. The state was looking at more investors coming in. We had experience with other businesses that we had done, and we just felt, based on mainly the fact that there were lots of young people and there was a lack of recreational facilities in the state. That's actually why we did TFG. So I hope that answers that first question.
I think so.
So there was actually an opportunity there, and so far, I mean, Nigeria has gone, but at the time, it seemed like a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk more about that,
Yes.
right? But let's just answer the rest of the questions. Okay, so this person chose to be anonymous. He says, I'm interested in investing in the Nigerian stock market. What are the top sectors or companies to consider for a good return on investment over the next few years?
So, see, the thing is, when it comes to stuff like this, let me first of all say this is not financial advice. This is not financial advice, right? But I would say banking is always good. Right now, I would say power generation is also good. So the Transcorps, the Gerables, if you can find it, those are also good bets. But banking and that one. Recently, I've been looking a little bit into the healthcare sector. There's also, that, and then financial services in general. Obviously, do your own research to this person, but if you start with those three sectors, you're a good bet. Although right now, because of this windfall tax on banks, the banking sector is bleeding. So you might want to wait a little bit and see what is going on there before you enter. But banking, financial services, and power, the what's it called, Transcorp, Samco.
Okay.
Those would be good places.
Okay, so let me go and gather my coins. So the next person calls themselves NO. Says, I'm 28, male, and I run a small business with over 2 million naira turnover every month.
Wow.
I've noticed older clients and partners sometimes don't take me seriously. What can I do to establish authority despite my age? Abi, I should go and read 40 laws of power.
I think it's 48. 48 laws. But I don't know. Is it really important that they, regard you if you're already making money? I don't know. Respect is not really that deep. I don't know this person's story, but I mean, if you're already making money, keep making money. I guess keep doing what you're doing. If the respect does not directly translate to money, I don't see the value of it. Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe from a scenario I've experienced in the past. So and I've heard this thing a lot, like big men don't pay. Or big men. So imagine if maybe you've come to his office to come and collect your payment. You now say, go and wait, and you're waiting for 6 hours. Is that part of the decision? Well, you could have been doing other things more valuable with your time.
True. I mean, those ones, that unfortunately is a systematic thing now, because you'll be surprised that even big companies don't so it might not just be you and then you're an MSME as well. So I guess what I'll do is create systems. Systems that would ensure that there are consequences for people that don't pay. Maybe if you're a supplier, for instance, if you're supplying 100 something, right, and you end up waiting 6 months for payment, maybe you can create a system that says, moving forward though, the only way you can get 100 units of X is if you actually pay at least 90% upfront. If you don't pay 90%, obviously we still need your money, so you only get 80% of what you paid for. So create systems that if you were removed from those systems, they still work, because that way at least people answer to the system, not to you. So it's no longer Oga said, it's more like this is the business policy. So that might help.
Interesting. Have you ever had that issue in the past based on your age? I feel like you probably would have, because it's Nigeria.
Yes, I have. Like sometimes when I go for TFG, sometimes when I talk to certain people for like maybe we're trying to buy something or get adverts done or all that, people say I sound older than I look. So when I talk over the phone and all that stuff, they're like, yes, sir. And then I come in and they're like, who is this? Like, where is the person?
Do you go in a tank top?
No. No, but I usually go like this. So I call myself a Gen Z boss. So like when they see me, it's always like, are you who we were talking to?
I'll be his son.
Yeah, or you're his son. And, so that always happens. I think it's just a natural thing in Nigeria. People will always respect you based on age normally. And, older people carry that thing.
So how do you handle that?
What I always do is I always just trivialize it. I'm always like, yes, it's actually me. Then I always crack the joke of, I sound older on the phone and all that stuff, but let's focus on what we're actually here for. And then in some cases, obviously, you get pushback when they see you. So in those cases, I now defer to saying, I'm representing somebody. Because for me, I'm here to solve a problem. Whatever you want to do, don't delay me. So that's what I tend to do. I'm like, okay, you know what? If this means so much, I'm representing somebody. Let me call the person. Then maybe I'll call a parent or something.
So you've had to do that. God, Nigeria is a funny place.
But even with me, I have a problem to solve. If it takes that, that's fine with me.
Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am? if that who I am is not bringing money, it doesn't matter.
True,
It really doesn't
true.
matter.
Yeah.
So respect for me is not that deep.
Yeah.
Let's solve my problem and I'm
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next person is called Adewale. Adewale. Sorry.
Okay.
What advice can you offer to a 25-year-old who wants to start a consulting business to small companies in compliance?
Huh.
He's 25 years old and wants to start a consulting business.
In compliance.
Yeah, and I guess his clients will be small businesses
Yeah.
or small companies.
I mean, in fairness, I know that the compliance space is something that there's an opportunity to actually play in. To be honest, don't remove the 25-year-old part of your view of this thing. I don't think it matters because what I've noticed is there are young people doing
Mad
absolutely
stuff.
mad.
Yeah.
Like, you hear some people raised, and then you're like, what? There was this guy back in the day. I think his name was Njoku Script or something. Found out he was like 19 or 20 at the time. That is amazing.
And his confidence.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter the age. I think focus on what you're offering, the value you're offering. Find the first niche clients that you can get. Build reputation because you're young. So if you solve the problem for one or two people, carry that thing on your head as if you solved it for a multinational and then speak that way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time I've learned that it's all about packaging, right? So a small man can cast a large shadow.
True.
So if you solve the problem for even if it's a company that only has 5 people, carry it as if they had 5,000.
Yeah.
Speak on it that way. Talk about it. Make yourself big. Focus on the fact that you're solving a problem. Understand the value you're offering. And then sell yourself.
Yeah.
I think most people don't do those 3 well. Like you can be solving a problem, but you trivialize it. And then that affects how you then go and pitch yourself. Then you're going into somewhere you're like shy and worried. If you solve the problem,
talk about that.
Talk about it. Write about it. Look bigger than you are. Project a large shadow, and then
True. It's all about what people perceive about you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
100% packaging. 100% package.
I love that. Okay, the next person calls themselves Birkin Bag. So I'm assuming this is maybe a lady. Yeah.
Okay.
She says, I have an online business I run. I have spent a lot of money building it up, but make very little returns. The failures gone are more than the successes. Oh no. I started last year and have been trying to work on it so I can leave my toxic 9 to 5. But great day successful.
Fair.
I stopped for a while and went back to the drawing board and I am starting again. What can I do differently? I really need this to work.
Maybe
if we had more information about
but one thing I will say about business, especially I'm assuming this is a Nigerian, know when to stop.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes you can keep sinking money into a dream, but it's not actually a business. It's a dream. Exactly. And you'll be surprised how many people are in that space where, sunk cost fallacy. I've spent. Let me keep spending, hopefully one day. So look at it realistically. You've been at this business for I don't know how long. And if it's really not making money, is it a market issue? Is it the fact that, people are not buying? Do you need to do more marketing? What exactly is the fundamental of your business problem? Are you not making enough sales? Or is it that your cost is too high? It's always one of those 2 things. It's either money is not coming in or money is going out too much.
Okay.
So look at those 2 and how you can solve them. Maybe you might need to do more marketing and all that. But if you've done all this and there's still no money, sometimes you might just have to raise your hand and say,
you've tried.
I've tried. Because, if multinationals can do it, you as a small business owner, there's no shame in saying I tried and it didn't work. But just make sure you fully try to understand the problems. And then another thing though, with the way the Nigerian market is that sometimes there's just not enough food. Right? To share. So it might not even be a you thing. It's just the fact that your potential clients might just not have the money right now. And that might just, again, tie into what I said before. Maybe just rest the business first. Look at the climate, then come back. Especially if you don't have that many costs that just pause, reevaluate.
Okay. Yeah, I think I want to add that she probably needs to do more research. You probably have one other person at least that's doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
If they are successful, like really analyze what is successful about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like what are they doing right? Or maybe it might be the case where the clients that the target audience, maybe they just have only enough money to face that
Exactly.
one, yeah, that one person.
Exactly.
So really analyze. And then I would also say, if that is the kind of scenario, maybe look at collaborations. So maybe there are certain clients that bigger company doesn't want to take. They can throw it down to you. You can handle those ones, right? So look for more opportunities to collaborate.
Yeah, collaboration, visibility, it always helps.
Yeah. Okay, so the next person is called Joshua.
Okay.
Says, as a young entrepreneur, what are the challenges of starting and continuing a business in Nigeria? What can the government do better? Or what
Everything.
or what are the top things the government must do to make it easier to start a business as a young person?
As a long conversation, but
Yeah.
honestly speaking, as a young person, our major problem is usually access to capital. That's usually it. A lot of people just don't have access to capital. If the government can help with that, that would be a start. Then it also depends on the kind of business and the nature of business. But I think we'll start with access to capital. But right now, the thing with business as a whole is that, you know how they say Nigerians are spending close to 60% of their money on food?
Yeah.
It dwindles the market for almost every business. You have to make sure whatever you're selling is very important. So there's also that aspect. Young people should probably also look at a situation where they are trying to solve essential problems, right? Nigerians are still in a case of needs before wants, right? So that fancy thing might not necessarily be what they need right now. So maybe the nature of the business is important, but I think majorly government just needs to help with access to capital to start up. The rest of it is more of a market thing, if you ask me, like, you know, because people don't really have that much money. Why don't they have that much money? Because a lot of things are imported, which are cost, they are very expensive and all that stuff. So I will majorly focus on just that access to capital. The enabling environment will come along with those things. So maybe the government should reduce taxation and all this. But it's a long thing. I just say the major thing government can do is help us with the access to capital. And then just stay out of the way. Because there's multiple taxation. Like when we started TFG, you learn all the different reasons why businesses are not. Yeah, you know, there's multiple taxation, there's inefficiencies. You want to get this paper, it takes 6 months. You want to. So there are all these things, and then you find out that all of a sudden there are so many different bodies that when it's time to actually collect revenue, they do work. But apart from that,
nothing else.
So all those things, they can help us and shift them out of the way after they've given us money to start.
So they should not be a roadblocker. Like it should be more of.
Honestly, I think if the government stayed out of the way entirely, it would be a better place for business. I'll be honest with you, because right now they are. You know that thing where somebody is trying to help you, but it's more like...
It's almost like they're dragging you down.
So honestly, realistically, as a young person, I'll say, give me money and stay out of my way. Maybe when you stay out of my way, it might even help me.
So yeah,
that's...
interesting. Is that a challenge that you had?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I've had multiple challenges in that front. My major challenge was... initially access to capital. If you look mostly, I think even when who was it that did a study recently that said most businesses are funded by friends and families. So like that's my experience also. So there's that, and then there was also, you know, high import costs of what we're doing. But those ones, to remove that, I don't know how long it will take the government. But then there was also exchange rate issues. There's the fact that to even access the Form M or whatever.
Oh my God.
See, it's a long, and when you now finally remove all that, all the systematic ones, I say, okay, now let me set up my business. Now there's an agency that says you need to register this, or your noise shouldn't pass here, or you need this level of natural grass, or you want to pay this tax, or you need to pay this local government this, or your lights, you need to be powered. So like I said, let them just stay out of the way. Let them stay out of the way first. And then that might be it.
Interesting. No, that doesn't sound fun at all.
It's not. Running a business in Nigeria is not fun.
Okay, so the next question is from someone called PJ. Sorry, I'm laughing. He says, how can I get angel investors? And he also put the laughing smiley.
Anybody that has raised money will tell you it's not easy. So it's like an uphill battle, especially currently in Nigeria. I think one of the startup founders tweeted recently, he was talking to, I think, a finance, and the
A
person was
VC.
like, a VC, and he was like, oh, we're currently not invested in Nigeria.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm like, that is the reality. So
And he said that even the VC is jackpot.
exactly. So
God.
it's not easy. If it's to raise money from VC, honestly, send like 1,000, hopefully one will
Yeah.
respond. And that one that
Hopefully,
hopefully
oh.
responds, hold him tight
Yeah.
and go from there. But
My
I don't
days.
have any tips on how
Yeah.
to. Myself, I've not raised VC money.
Okay.
So I don't have any
Yeah,
tips
I
on
think
that.
I can speak on that a little bit. Not that I've not
Okay.
raised any money, but yeah, family and friends, I guess, can be angels.
Yeah.
But I was at a conference recently called Builders Summit. I don't know if you know PC Timmy's Founders
I've
Connect.
heard
Yeah.
of it, yeah.
So they were talking about how connecting with VCs or like actually getting money from VCs is all about relationships.
It is.
Like you don't expect to just meet someone today and collecting money tomorrow. It's literally you might have met the person 3 years ago and you guys you wine and dine them. It's like it's a relationship.
Yes,
It's that is like
yes.
boyfriend girlfriend.
It is.
You people date each other. You people ask each other questions. They want to see who you are. If you take the money, are you going to run away? Like what's going to happen?
Like even just to add to that, actually, most VC relationships are like most VC investments are via relationships, right? And a lot of them you have to nurture it. So one tip I know I always tell people is even if the person doesn't answer you or give you money, be sending them updates regularly.
Okay.
Be present in their life. Like find like maybe 1,000 VCs. Send emails regularly. So we've done this today. We've done this today. We've done this today. And just keep putting yourself there.
Okay.
You might think that they are not seeing it, but eventually one day, they can now say, okay, this is a track record. Let me meet this person.
True.
Right? Then you also build relationships aside from the fact that you want money. It's like, oh, there's a this thing happening there. Just go. Let them see you. This is me. I can do this. I can do this. I'm not asking for money yet, but this is what I do. In fact, let me just be telling you what I do regularly and, build that relationship. Be there. Be visible.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea, actually.
Hopefully.
So maybe one day, this sounds funny. One day when you're like, maybe they're just looking for a DEI, maybe just, just maybe they're looking for somebody in agri-tech and you're the one that's been giving them updates.
Exactly.
Or for like 2 years, they'll be like, oh yeah, there's one startup called one thing. Let's go and reach out to them.
Exactly. Or maybe I met somebody one day that mentioned.
True.
Surprised.
Yeah. Okay, so the next person calls herself Jane Doe.
Okay.
As a young adult on this road to 30, what do you think is the best way to not put all your eggs in one basket? And can we have the life of our dreams?
The life of our dreams for young people is getting out of hand. So things are expensive. Jobs are not available. Businesses are friendly. That life of your dreams, you have to redefine it. It's not easy. Like the world is what it is. But the first part of the question, I'll probably say, I don't know, invest. But investing is like secondary to earning, right? And increase your earning power.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing. If it's like you're earning 100K or 200, that's currently your reality. Be real with that, right? And it's kind of advice I give people all the time in finance. It's like, be real with where you are. Be real with where you want to go. And then, most importantly, increase your earning power. Yeah. I think like you cannot save your way to wealth, right? And it's all a capital game. The person that makes 1 million and is spending 100K is already at more advantage than you that is making 100K and not even spending maybe, that much. So it's like increasing your earning power is my most important advice. However you can, maybe a course, maybe networking, a new job, a new salary, increase your earning power. Then you can now start investing, saving and all that. Because I won't lie. Even if you eat Indomie every week, it won't change the fact that there is no money to actually put in stocks.
True.
Another thing, even if somebody tells you, oh my God, Tesla doubled in price. If you put 100 naira, double is 200.
Yeah.
But the person that put 1 million, double is 2 million.
Wow.
So it's always...
God when.
Exactly. It's always about earning more. That's
my days. That sounds daunting, right?
I know, because realistically, you have to get a course, do this training, do that, blah, blah, blah. But just try.
Yeah. I think that's actually advice I've taken in the past. I don't know about life of one's dreams though.
Fair.
Right now. I feel like, is there anyone living the life of their dreams right now? I don't know. I don't know, maybe like a rare few, right?
Yeah.
But that's advice to invest in yourself is one I've taken. So that 10K that you want to go and use to buy shares, figure out what you want to do and use that 10K and invest in yourself. So if it's a course, if it's ring lights to go and start doing TikToks that's going to make you money. Honestly.
Which is real. Which
Yeah.
is real. Which is real.
Or to start making YouTube videos. I think
Which is
one
real.
thing is make sure that you have knowledge. You don't know what you don't know.
True.
You find out that somebody is using 10K to make 100K. I'm not saying you should go and start doing Ponzi schemes or anything. Please. But I'm just saying there might be certain things you could do, right, with the little that you have presently to make some money. So expose yourself. So whatever industry you're interested in, join the communities around it, follow all the pages, follow all the people doing that.
Yeah.
The more you know, the more you figure out, okay, what's that specific skill that you have that you can monetize, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe in 20 years, you can start living the life of your
maybe
dreams.
even in 5 or 10. But
Yeah.
that life of your dreams idea is hard now.
It's hard. Oh, it's hard.
It's hard. It's very hard.
At least maybe like just 3 people in Nigeria that are living the life of their dreams.
Even those ones, I'm sure if you
Maybe
ask them,
Timini might be the only person living the life of his dreams in this Nigeria.
I'm sure if you ask him, he'll tell you he has
That's-
dreams that he
yeah,
has to adjust to. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like we've taken a lot of questions. Maybe we should just
that's
do.
fine.
Should we
Can I
just
do
do
one
one
more?
more? Okay. Okay. This person chooses to be anonymous and says, "I've saved up a small amount of money and I want to start investing, but the market seems so volatile. What's the safest way for a beginner to start investing?"
ETFs.
Okay.
Yeah, ETFs. So the long and short of ETFs is they will buy a couple things, lump it together.
Okay.
So they hedge. So that will be my advice, especially if you're just starting out, if you're young, because I wouldn't advise you to start stock picking. It always sounds good when people say my Tesla this, my GT this, but hedge first.
Okay.
Then, get your ETFs in. And then from there, you can now slowly start to build.
Okay.
Because at least with ETFs, the risk is, a little bit more spread out.
Yeah.
Your heart is a little bit calmer. Because you see, everybody's money is important to them. You can't tell somebody because it's 10K. Just so always start with something safe, at least, that can bring money. And then go from there.
Can I also give you a tip? Join Isaac's finance classes.
Yes. So I do have, it's like Time Talk Finance, where it's actually not even a class.
No class. I know you say it's conversation.
we just talk and we try to be real about like money, because a lot of advice in finance is thrown out these days and it might not be tailored for you. And because of that, people are not realistic with what they want and all that. So Time Talk Finance, we try to do that. We try to be honest, try to be real. Not everybody has 5 million or 10 million, but the 10K you have, how best can we start? How did other people your age start? And then we go from there.
Yeah. And I think Isaac he answers DMs. So maybe if you have a specific question for him.
If you have a specific question, you can reach out. It's not financial advice. It's just real advice.
I feel like you need a meme of you doing this.
I really need to. So that nobody holds you. But it's just, honest conversations. Because finance seems to be very, it seems very complicated for people. So trying to simplify that is what I try to do.
Yeah. And it's valuable. It's been valuable for me. So I think other people find it valuable. Okay. So Isaac, we've gotten your perspective on a couple of questions. I think we have not really, let me get you to tell us a bit more about yourself. What I haven't really said or expand on. Tell us a bit more about your background. What motivates you and how did you get here today? Like literally here to this podcast.
I drove. There's fuel scarcity, so that was actually interesting.
Annoying.
Yeah, Nigeria, that happens all the time. Since I was born, I've never known a whole year without fuel scarcity.
And I'm sure some people, if you say fuel scarcity to them, like people that are not like in the abroad, they'll be like, "What was that?"
It doesn't make sense. It's a very foreign concept.
Yeah.
Okay, but a bit about myself. This is actually a very interesting question, because even in interviews, I'm always like, "Who am I? What do I do?"
Yeah, I feel like you ask a lot of existential questions. You generally.
No, generally, that's the kind of person I am. Like, why are we here? But yes, I am Isaac, as you said. I will use the educational route now. I had my bachelor's in engineering, did a master's in control systems. My dream at that time was to own a wind farm.
Okay.
Yeah, so my final year project during my master's was on wind farms.
Okay.
And that technology. That actually led me to serving in Katsina because they do have a wind farm there.
Interesting.
But Nigeria happened and I didn't get in there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I left. Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
That's annoying. Like the one person that wants to serve in Katsina, can you now?
It was very funny, but that's Nigeria. Yeah. Then I've been in Nigeria for a while. So I was working with, like you mentioned, FDC for a while during my MBA. I did my MBA from Lagos Business School, which was really, really, really fun. I did that during COVID.
Fun, but a lot of work.
It was. I've not worked that hard in my life. But it was fun to work that hard because I think I like working as a person, and that was a good opportunity to, put those two things together. So I think that's a bit on the educational side. I was with Global for a bit. Then I'm currently with my own outfits, which is TFG. So we have an amusement park and a restaurant and some other businesses. That's why I actually call it a group. Okay. Because they're like, it's an umbrella of different things. That's currently not sure. Then on the personal side, I have the Road to 30 podcast, which I've been hosting for a while with my friend Dolapo. It's fun, it's realistic, it's honest. I also have a passion for talking, I guess. So that was what led me into that. Okay. And then on the not so doing side as a person, I like to relax. Okay. I like to think of myself as a lazy hard worker.
Okay, right? Interesting.
So if I have 10 things to do, I will do them all today. Okay. And rest for the rest of it.
Oh, that's the kind of person so you don't push them back.
I don't like procrastinating work because I love being free. Okay. Like, I enjoy watching TV. I'm a huge Man U fan. Okay. Yeah, I am a huge series fan, so I watch a lot of shows. Okay. I watch a lot of movies. Before Nigeria became Nigeria, I was at the cinema almost every week.
Yeah. The Wednesdays when tickets were cheaper.
When it was cheaper, but now I don't remember the last time I was at the cinema. I create content. I have a YouTube channel, Isaac Adekanye, so I'm just trying to enjoy and document my life a bit more. I like to see myself as a mental health advocate. So I'm very open about, talking about your problems, being open about being vulnerable, being real. I think it's something that a lot of men and Nigerians in general need. We need to remove the stigma behind mental health. I like cooking. People don't know this. But part of my YouTube channel, I have like a little thing where I make smoothies and stuff like that. I find it therapeutic. A fun fact, I enjoy washing dishes.
Oh,
yes.
Who does that?
Nobody does. But the thing is, for me personally, washing dishes helps me. It cleanses my mind. So I can literally see something going from dirty to clean with my hard work. Okay. Right. And it's a very simple and straightforward process. So it helps me to think, to calm down and stuff. And I think, that's a bit about me.
I have 2 follow-up questions. Go on. One, I thought we've agreed. Well, you didn't agree with me, but you agreed on your podcast that you were going to add the person that got to the last stage of the McKinsey interview to your description of yourself.
Okay, so fun fact, I did get to the final stage of the McKinsey interview. Yeah. And I did not make it. Yeah. But it was it was a very humbling experience because before then I didn't know that it meant that much to people to get that far in the interview. But I did get there and I did make it, but I take that as, a thing of pride to get that far.
You need a badge.
It is on my CV now.
Oh, okay, awesome.
McKinsey interview, final stage. Okay. So,
Has that been valuable? Like, do you think it's made a difference?
Since then, I think I stopped applying for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, because at that point was when Nigeria started to happen. So I had to focus more on the business.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did stop applying. So I don't know if it has helped. Okay. But I know I have gotten a few interviews since then. Okay. They've not told me if that's why. Okay. But
you got interviews even without applying?
No. Like to places I guess I've applied
to in the past. Okay.
So I guess it helps. Okay. But if people on the internet say it helps, then I guess it helps.
Okay. So my second question, I don't know much about football.
That's fine.
But you say you're a Man U fan.
Yes.
My next question for you was, why did you take your MBA? Are you a masochist? But I think you've answered that by saying you're a Man U fan.
Actually, no. I like book.
Okay.
And also at the time it was COVID. So the world was going into that. And I figured, okay, how best can I add value to myself without necessarily stressing. And I wanted to do a second master's.
Okay.
But I looked at it and I felt an MBA might have been a better choice, especially from at least the most reputable in Lagos.
Yeah.
So that was why I went there. And honestly, I think it was a good decision at the time. So yeah, I think, during COVID, people were not sure what to do.
Yeah.
And I just felt by the time I had a timeline that by the time things are getting better, I want to be better so that at least we can then, be in a much better place to apply for jobs and all that stuff. And I'll be very honest, so that when I do go, maybe if you want to japa or anything, they can say, okay, look at this guy's qualifications. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was why.
Wow. A BA, a bachelor's, a master's, and an MBA. Yeah. Okay, interesting.
For now, PhD in the works.
Wow, that sounds so daunting to me. I can't even imagine.
No, I want to retire as a lecturer.
Okay.
Yeah, later in life.
Is that like your parents' dream or your dream?
No, that's been my dream. Okay. I want to be, those people who lecture purely because of vibes.
Okay.
Yeah, like those lecturers that, they are lecturing more because it's like a passion, more because it's like, their CSR personally. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question was going to be like, what other books, resources, I don't know, lifestyle stuff do you think has contributed to you being who you are?
Good question. So when I was younger, right, I used to fight my parents because they used to make us read.
Okay.
Right. And I felt it wasn't funny. My friends would be going out and my mom would be like, oh, no, you went out on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, you're reading. And at that time, it wasn't fun. But by the time I got to uni, I realized that people weren't reading as much, which was then it now seemed like an advantage. So I read my dad when we're younger.
Okay.
From like, I think when I could read, my dad started sitting me down and talking about stocks. Right. Then, I don't know if you remember.
It's when you could read, that's like 6?
No, I think it was before then.
Before age 6?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was before then. But again, that part of my life is blurry. Okay. But I know that then they used to put stock prices in the newspaper.
Okay.
And my dad was doing onshore, offshore.
Okay.
So whenever he's around, he'll say, come, see. This one is 0.9, Last week it was 0.7. What does that mean? It has gone up. Yes. So that means next time you have money, if you do this one, by next week, what will happen? It will go up. And that was how we used to bond.
Okay.
So that led me into paying attention to financial literacy and the stock markets and all that. Then he bought us a kolo.
Okay.
Yeah. And unlike, I didn't even realize that most parents, when they bought you kolo, they would take the money and they won't give you. What my dad used to do and my mom, right? They will say, okay, this is your kolo. How much is inside? Write it down. Put it inside. So the next time you come, you see how much is there and what you wrote, and it always matches. And then it was a competition for all of us to increase that. And then when it gets to a certain number, my dad now say, come, this money, divide it by this. What do you get? 300. That is what I'm going to buy for you. And that was how we got into stocks.
Okay.
And all that kind of stuff. So he also made us read, to answer the question directly, we read Rich Dad, Poor Dad early.
Okay.
I read it before it made sense to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just read it like...
I just read it as a book. Then I also used to watch, there was a show back then, I can't remember, I think it was on NTA, that they used to just talk about markets and stuff. It made no sense to me then.
Okay.
But it built a passion of just following numbers and just being excited about money. But I think those are the things that really did it. The main one was that Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Reading it then I think Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
Yeah, that also helped. My mom was more of the person who taught me to be domesticated.
Okay.
So my mom has this thing, if you ever meet her, right? So she tells everybody, I don't want anybody to shakara for my son because he cannot folk. So because of that, she made us very domesticated.
Okay.
So that, I guess, that also made me who I am. Does that make sense?
I love the intentionality.
Yeah, my parents they did their best with that. So I think that book, and then I can't remember a lot of the shows I watched growing up, but I can recommend some now.
Yeah.
That I do. So there's a lady on YouTube called Nishka.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a finance person. Again, she's real with it. It's not like do this. It's more like I tried this, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I will recommend Flow Finance.
Okay.
It's this Nigerian lady on YouTube as well. Again, she just talks about
I
the way
think
it
I've
is.
come across
Yeah,
her.
probably she's quite popular. So those are the two people. So the thing is, I don't over consume content
Okay.
because I don't know if I have the space for it. So
Okay.
I think those two recommendations I have. I have
Yeah.
some written down.
Okay.
If you don't mind, let
Yeah,
me
please
just check.
go ahead. Yeah.
Some stuff I recommend in terms of podcast, The Disciplined Investor.
Okay.
So that's good. In terms of books, Richest Man in Babylon, like I mentioned, The Intelligent Investor, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
I think everybody can start with those three. And then on YouTube, Nishka and Flow Finance.
Okay.
And then if you want to learn, Marco from Whiteboard Finance. So he teaches.
Whiteboard.
Yeah,
Finance.
Marco from Whiteboard Finance. So it's
Okay.
like a teaching experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. The fact that you've written it, I assume people ask you this all the time.
Yes, they do. And I just have it somewhere so
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, Isaac, what are your career highlights like so far? I know you're still young, you're still under 30, but what would you say have been the highlights of your career?
Career highlights. I mean, if you see Global anywhere now, I was part of that.
Yeah.
I hold that with high regard. So if
Yeah.
you see us anywhere, I was part of that. Right now, I launched and managed the biggest amusement park in Ocean State.
Mhm.
Right. So that is also something. I think in the Southwest, I'm not sure. So there's that. What else? In terms of career highlights, I think I'm not okay. I managed in my first job at DBH.
Okay.
Yeah, I managed like some projects. I don't know if I can say out yet.
Okay.
Well, or at all. But yeah, they're on my CV somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So there's some
Interesting.
projects I managed there. We did end-to-end fittings of like the stock exchange and
Okay,
stuff like
wow.
that. So yeah.
Wow. So you are the real tech bro, basically, based on that. Okay. So you've been running TFG, right? Tell us about that. Maybe how you got started and what have been like the major highlights running TFG for you.
Okay, TFG started again. It was a dream of my mom and I was happy to just, after my MBA, to help her bring it to fruition, which was good. TFG is just a park. It started off as a park, but then as you start any business, you start to see verticals that you can expand to. So we started off with just the park, but then we noticed a lot of people wanted food and drinks, so food and drinks came.
Okay.
We noticed that with food and drinks, that meant a lot of PET bottles, a lot of trash.
Okay.
So now, instead of just throwing that away, there's a whole business of managing.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a group. And then there's all that. Then we also have, because of the electricals and stuff like that, my dad's an electrical engineer, so we also manage and maintain electrical stuff and all that. So there's a bit of stuff that is coming under the umbrella now, but for now, it's mainly the restaurant and the park. So that was, what was the question again? Sorry.
So tell us about running.
Yeah, so running.
What does a day running TFG look like?
It has significantly changed. So when we started, initially, a day was stressful.
Okay.
So I had to, first of all, go into, because I started off very lean. We started off very lean.
Okay.
So I ran into a co-market to get uniforms and branding and all that stuff.
Okay.
Then I had to send that to Shobu, go with that, create the strategy of how we wanted to launch.
Okay.
Right. Then also I had to, because of the podcast and all that, I had to create our radio jingles, which then went to the radio. So I leveraged networks and we're able to get like radio and all that stuff going on. Then initially, I used to manage the social media as well.
Okay.
That was not easy at all. Wearing all these different hats. Then once I'm doing that, I'm also recruiting because it's a big problem we had initially, staff. Right? The people that want to come will come. Sometimes there's one issue or the other. It doesn't match up. Now they've gone. So there was recruitment. Then supply chain. Restaurant. So we had to get somebody that will give us rice, meat. Like we had to make sure there was a pipeline because we can't come to have fun and then it's like, there's no rice, so there's no chicken.
Yeah.
So we had to.
You're literally losing out on an opportunity.
Supply chain for that. Then the design, although I didn't really, I wasn't really involved in the building and all that stuff. My parents were, but then there was that aspect too. So, and also talking with them to make sure that, this is the way the design should be. This is the way it should be. There was all that. Then there was also setting up the business itself. The paper trail, like money. We had to get a money point POS. We had to, because it's Nigeria, we had to hedge all these different POSs.
Okay, so you have more than one.
You have to. Because the one day,
network downtime.
Exactly. Network downtime. Somebody's own is just So there was all that. Then you now have to do HR duties.
Okay. Wait, this sounds like 10 people's job.
It is. That's the thing with small businesses. You wear like a million hats. And because I just finished the MBA, my parents looked at me and they were like, we've paid. So
working.
So it wasn't easy at the initial stages. I had to do all these different things, but it was fun.
Okay.
And that's the thing with business. Like the first day we launched and we had like all these customers, I didn't even have energy to snap or do anything, but I was happy,
So there was joy where like,
joy. I was even part of the ride operators because the staff was just not enough. You can't start with such a high cost. Like we had to manage. So we had I think we had 8 rides initially.
Okay.
I had to man one. And while I'm manning that, they're calling me that something is happening.
So you're controlling children. You're saying, don't pull that person's neck. Oh, you're too short. You're too
At the same time, you're going around trying to snap pictures so that it's not.
Wow. Yeah.
But as time went on, we've been able to put structures in place. So now it's easier, right? In fact, that's why I can be here now and it's still going on.
Okay.
Recently, we hosted the Oshun Twitter community. I didn't have to be there. So it shows progress. Because now I've put systems in place. If anything goes wrong, they can call and say, Isaac, this is not happening. That's not happening. But that's like a day in the life of a business owner. Really.
Yeah.
So from managing people, recruiting, making sure the staff are okay, getting their uniforms, talking to vendors. We have ice cream as well. So you have to source milk. You have to source all that, making sure there's lights.
Yeah. I feel like you're downplaying this, Isaac. When did TFG launch?
We were 1 year we're actually 1 year in Easter. But we didn't have time because it was busy period to celebrate. So we celebrated in June.
Okay. So the business is just over a year.
It's just over a year.
But in 1 year, you've been able to set up several processes.
Yes.
Side businesses.
Yes.
Supply chain issues, people issues. I don't see how you're not understanding that this is a lot that you've done.
I guess as a person, it's something I've always struggled with. I don't know how to give myself credit. I always downplay what I do. It's always in retrospect that things make sense. Or maybe when people like you're telling me now that I see it as well. But at the time, I saw it as what I had to do and what I just, had to do. So I guess it's a good thing. I do feel good. Because I think the day I really felt proud was the day I knew that the business could now afford someone to manage the social media.
Okay.
That was for people didn't understand how much it meant for me because at least it meant that we're now generating enough cash to have departments, which was a very.
So you guys are profit making?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I've not covered all your startup costs.
We have high capex because of this stuff.
Yeah.
But at least we can operationally cover.
Yeah, you're not taking any additional loans. I want to say that you guys have reached profits.
No. In 1 year in Nigeria,
I wanted to say this is like, do you know what an achievement that is?
No.
Especially with high cost of setting up everything. You had to import all the rides and everything.
Another problem we had, the quality of manufacturing in Nigeria was not up to where we wanted it to go.
Okay.
And so we had to import a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Yes, the capex was high, but it was worth it.
So tell me about the people problem. I'm very interested in that because I imagine that a lot of founders, business owners have this kind of problem. What exactly was the people problem? What were some of the examples, the scenarios, and how did you solve them?
The first manager I hired, he left on the first day of the job. He just couldn't hack it. So that was a problem. And the thing was because
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, like
he didn't know what he was supposed to come and
I don't know, but on that first day, we just didn't see him again. Not start chasing him for our uniform. So bring back my cap on my chest. Because again, remember at that time, I had just gone to a course, so everything was accounted for. We're not reached where you can
after just 1 day.
Just I had to chase him. And now if I knew he would do 1 day, I wouldn't have given him uniform. So that, but we had a problem with quality.
Okay.
Quality of people. So as a Gen Z person, I like to call myself that. I am very focused on customer service.
Okay.
Right. And I think it was a thing people didn't understand why it meant so much to me. But in this world where you can wake up and someone has dragged your business, I didn't want that. So I had to get people who could speak, look a certain way, teach them, present. In fact, I spent like the first week explaining to them that if this happens, do this. If somebody shouts at you, please don't shout back. Do this, do all that.
How can you have to explain that to a service person?
No, you'll be surprised.
Wow.
The other day I went to a restaurant and somebody said, somebody was trying to order. And she was like, oh, please, can you come? And lady was like, eh. And I'm like, you see, this is service business. This
I'm
is service
sorry.
business. The lady that was meant to be serving was like, eh. So if you think about that on a Nigerian scale, so we had problems with, again, theft.
Okay.
It's a business that is largely, I try to not allow cash within the space.
Okay.
That's why we have a lot of POSs.
Okay.
But every now and then you see somebody collecting 100 naira, 500, 1,000, those kind of things. So we had a lot of issues with that. There was also a lot of issues with trust. You know, Lagos is a place where people wake up by 5 and they're working. Sometimes in other states, you might be like, come by 9. And then 9:30 they are struggling.
Oh yeah, there's a slower pace.
Yeah, slower pace, and you have to manage discipline there. So we had that issue as well. We also had issues with actually finding people who wanted to work.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was another thing. Because the work can be quite demanding. So initially, people finding the right kind of people.
Okay.
Right. It's you end up differing to certain genders for certain roles. Yeah. So that happened, but that's a little bit about the.
Okay. That's so. I'm sorry. How can you have to teach people not to fight with the customer? Anyway,
you'll be surprised. Like I promise you, ask any small business owner.
Okay.
People's people's perception of your business is important, but you'll be surprised what your staff would take for granted.
Sure.
Right? Like I once saw a situation where when we launched, somebody slapped one of our staff.
Oh God. And Nigerian customers too can be
and also you're dealing with kids.
Oh true.
You're dealing with most times mothers and kids.
So you have to be more sensitive about certain things.
When it comes to kids and mothers, the mothers don't want to hear.
There's no joking around here.
Exactly. And whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter to them. They just want. So managing that was not easy.
Okay.
So you have to make sure that the people are aware that they are giving a service. That's your staff. Because sometimes your staff might look at it and say, for instance, the person who was slapped, you can't slap the person back, but obviously you're a human. So when someone does that to you, you know, I mean, luckily we banned the person from the park.
Okay.
After, but it's just little things like that. Just remembering that not everybody will see service the way you see it. So you have to train them into saying that, see, when you come to work, even if you are tired, once you see people coming, you say, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. It doesn't matter whether you didn't eat yesterday. It doesn't matter how you're feeling. If you are sick, don't come. But if you are okay to come, smile.
Yeah. So how did you solve the discipline problem? Because I know that's probably something people are facing with.
To solve. Fines. Okay. Nobody messes with
fines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not the kind of person that will say, well, your salary won't come. No, but you will know. If everybody is holding each other to a standard, the person that is messing up will know. Humans always want to be part of a group, right? So when you yourself can feel that every other person is here on time except me, they won't need to tell you.
Okay, next time. Okay.
And then by the time you're late once or twice, you know, and you feel like, okay, this is a fine, or maybe, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay, so you talked about other problems, like all the paper trail, setting up all that. What does that look like for a Nigerian business?
You know, there's FIRS and there's state IRS.
Yes.
Let's start from there.
Okay.
Those are two different ball games. Then you have to have the right CSC document. The bank will ask you for that one before you open an account. Okay. In fairness, I wasn't directly involved in this process because we were able to get lawyers to do it. But we constantly had to do a lot of work. So there was also getting your, what's that thing called? Letterhead. Okay. You have to do that, your tax receipts, because we're clearing stuff as well. Okay. You have to get your Form M. You have to. Okay. I don't know the in-depth of the process, but I know it was quite rigorous and it was quite stressful. But after that, when we did start the business itself, the agencies that showed up were a different ballgame. The local government showed up. I didn't know that Nigeria had the noise management.
It's not Lasema.
Well, that's for Lagos. For sure, I don't know what they're called, but they showed up. We also had this environmental. Well, this was the funniest one because apparently you need to have a minimum ratio of natural grass to artificial grass.
So, really? Based on what I'm seeing in the environment?
It's a real thing apparently. Like I said, they might not enforce
it. Is it selective?
the day they decide to enforce it, you don't want to know
True.
whether it's elected. So yeah, that's just
Okay.
that was some.
So the other problem you talked about was supply chain. So can you tell us more about that problem? How did you solve it? Supply chain for your restaurants.
Yeah, we have multiple vendors.
Okay.
That was it. And
Okay.
I tried to push them to not have a relationship initially.
Okay.
Because it's very easy in Nigeria to be like, can I speak Yoruba?
Yes. Sir.
Be like, ọ̀rẹ́ mi ni mo máa supply. It was more about, see, listen, for now there is a small business and reputation is very important.
Yeah.
So there was none of this way, ṣebí ọ̀rẹ́ mi ló máa supply. Is that, because what will happen is now you can't shout at ọ̀rẹ́ mi that's not supplied, but your client is shouting at you. So, I always try to have this system where it's like, if somebody is giving me grief, I need to know where that grief is going so I can solve it. I can't just be taking it,
internalizing it.
Yeah. So because of that, we have multiple suppliers for different things. And initially, it was always a first come, first serve.
Okay.
So what I used to tell them was, anybody tabakwe, whoever we call, that first of all answers at a price that's okay for, that's what we're going with.
Okay.
So what happened was, Nigeria is funny. People were not used to that. So people will call today and they'll be like, I'm actually Lola. By the time they call tomorrow, we're like, we've already solved it. So the next time we call, they're like,
we're ready now.
We're ready. So that kind of vibe is what was happening. And so because of that, we had like multiple people. But then because it's not Lagos, it was easy to enter the market.
Okay.
So we also had it's funny, they didn't know that I was using this sort of Pareto's thing at the time. So I told them, let's always write down what people are ordering. Okay. And so after the first week, I saw what people were ordering, and I was like, let's not buy anything else except that. Okay. Right. And then we did that for drinks also. Okay. And we did that for flavors of ice cream. Okay. And then it really saved us money. You'll be surprised that Nigerians just want vanilla ice cream or strawberry. Chocolate, they don't want.
That's a surprising fact. Maybe it's people in Osogbo.
People, that was what the data showed.
So you have data for Cold Stone like
we
this?
Do.
In case Cold
in case they want. I would rather they come and put their freezer so that we can have a partnership. So that happened. Then real experience, we noticed that we stocked up on Hollandia yogurts and all those kind of things. But you know what's funny? We noticed that people wanted energy drinks, not all that. Because they're under the sun.
Okay.
Because they're under exactly. That's what I thought also. But what we noticed was the yogurt that was moving was the smaller ones for kids.
For the kids, okay.
But no adults wanted that. They just wanted, I'm under the sun, I'm walking, give me energy drink.
It's true.
Give me cold Fanta or stuff like that. So that happened. And then slowly also the data also showed that people just wanted Coke and Fanta and energy drinks. They didn't want anything else. It was a big fight to convince my parents that let us not stock other things.
Okay.
There's this idea in Nigerian business where it's like, but the day that they will come now, we don't have it.
I was going to ask that.
There was that. So I had to compromise and it was like, okay, stock one.
Okay.
And I promised you that 1 month, that one they sell it.
So are you serious?
It was like, say, you cannot be arguing with the data. Okay. It's what they are buying was saying.
Yeah.
And so that was how we were able to get our supply chain right. It was initially focused a lot on just what people were buying and how quickly we could get it. We had somebody who would always go to the markets in the morning based on what happened the day before. Okay. And again, it's not legal, so you can enter market, come back quickly, and that's how we solved it.
This is so interesting because I'm imagining someone who's been running a business like this. Do you think that your MBA helped you to understand how to solve this kind of problems?
100%.
Okay.
The thing that the MBA taught me is that we think MBAs are all these business concepts that go for like, oh my God, I'm working in a multinational. And that's when I will apply my laws of this, my that. No. It's actually more of, if you focus on the skills, you see where exactly to apply it. In fact, we had this argument in school where it's like, if more MBAs were willing to work in SMEs, smaller scale businesses, they will sacrifice money, yes, but you feel your impact directly. But it's a hard balance because if I've paid all this money for an MBA, you're not going to
be collecting 200k salary.
Exactly. So it's sort of a balance. You can either be like, just part of a system that works, or you can make a system work. So yeah, the MBA did help, and it helped more than I thought it would, because I was expecting to be saying, let me sit down and model and Excel that would do this, that would do that. But at the end of the day, I found out that it was more about, okay, how can we think practically in terms of systems? For instance, one random thing that we did was when it was time to market, because of marketing from the MBA, I understood that you could do out of home
Okay.
or you could focus online. What most people were thinking initially was, well, it's a small business, focus online. But then we noticed that we had better conversions initially from the out of home.
Okay.
Because it's like, we're here now, see us, see us, see us, see us. Months later,
The
the digital side is now starting to be useful.
Okay.
But what we noticed was a lot of our customers were people who they probably just drove past, they heard, or they were in church and somebody said, my kids went there. Or somebody came and put it on WhatsApp and they saw on WhatsApp. So that was actually where we started. And so we had to tailor all our marketing to that.
Okay.
Right. And again, the MBA will just help you realize things like, okay, this is happening. Focus on this. Like the thing I said with supply chain. This is
solving
happening.
problems.
Let's solve this problem. Okay, you know what? Your staff. Just something like, okay, let's train them to have a good standard. One thing people always say is, this place, you people make sure you don't drop your standards.
Wow.
It's not easy in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Every time somebody says that, I smile because I'm like, it's even if you just come here for that. That makes me happy. So it was valuable in that sense.
Very interesting. So there's this thing with Nigerian businesses where as soon as, I don't know, maybe the manager travels and maybe they're not hands-on with the business again, then everything starts going downhill. You walk in and everywhere's smelling of Izal, those kind of nonsense things. How do you intend to like prevent that from happening?
Again, systems. So I was thinking a lot in systems. Like I said, it's why I can be here now and we can have big events and I know that the people are capable. So what I did was, it was more of a system of, this is the standard that we want to maintain. Understand that this is the standard, whether our guy is there or not. How do we maintain these standards? When somebody calls, call back immediately. Right? When somebody messages, message back immediately. 2 points of check. That we have 2 people with business phones. So if one person misses it, the other person should get it. If they both miss it, then that's an issue that we need to figure out how to solve. But so far, because they sort of see themselves as competing for performance, nobody tends to. So the people that usher you in are different from the people that take care of you at the park. But it's a joint system. So if you already have a bad experience at the door, the people at the park know that there's an issue. We have to overcompensate for that. And then when the day is done, they will now go and settle it. And I don't get involved in that because I know everybody is trying to maintain standards. And sometimes if you have a bad experience in the park, and you're going home, you complain to the person at the door. And what does she do? She'll come and be like, guys, this cannot happen. And so that tends to compensate.
There are checks and balances.
Yeah, there are checks and balances. And that tends to help. And then also, I had this thing where it was like a flat structure. So there's no orga, there's no subordinate. And what that helped with initially was, if somebody was doing something wrong, anybody can check you. And if you're doing something right, everybody can praise you. So it was easier to manage because it's now like Isaac is around. Doesn't mean that the service will be good today. It goes tomorrow, it will be bad. Because everybody knows that we're all equals. It was hard because it's Nigeria.
Age, experience, and level.
First thing I did was we don't have this Uncle Isaac, Uncle blah, blah, blah structure. No. We just have Isaac. Everybody is on a first name basis. So that helped it helped with communication, helped with accountability. There's also a structure. We resume by this time, we all clean. It's not a case of, guys, relaxing. I'll be honest, initially I was doing all that. So leading by example also helped. Because what happened was if you show up at 9 and I'm already arranging chairs, it's hard for you to... And then over time, it became a system where sometimes I'll listen and they were like, Organo, man, so why can't you do it?
True.
And so it just helped like that, right? Like some days you can show up because my parents love like early morning breeze. So some days you can show up before everybody and my parents have arranged the chairs or something. And it's like, by the time the staff show up, it's like, if they can do it, who are you? Obviously, like I mentioned, I manned the rides too. So if I can man the rides, why can't you? If I'm running around making sure that customers are doing this, the hats initially, from running from POS at the gates to, so if leading by example, they all saw that I've done that, it became easier for them to do it. And then as time went on, we maintained the standards. They also get rewards for it. So people are always happy to hear that this particular guy made us feel really good. It makes everybody feel good. Everybody wants to be the person that everybody will say, this guy made me feel good. And so that's how we're able to maintain that. Really just checks and balances and leading by example.
So you're basically doing the carrot and the stick.
Exactly.
So you find them if there are issues, you praise them if
Exactly.
there's interesting. So one more thing I want to touch on with the people challenges is theft. That is a big thing for many businesses.
Yeah.
What kind of issues do you have around that? Have they been solved? Because I don't know. Is it possible to fully solve them? Yeah.
How did we solve it? I don't know if it has been solved 100% now, but I know it does not have any significant impact on the business right now.
Okay.
Because, and I'm saying this carefully because I can't say for 100%. I know in my heart that that's the case, but I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those people that will not be blamed. Yeah.
But what happened again? There's no cash allowed within the space.
Okay.
There's a central point for payments.
Okay.
Right. There are tickets, and then everybody has a way of, when you get to the ride, we check what ride did you pay for, what ride can you use.
Okay.
There are multiple checks along the way.
Okay.
So it's like if you paid for this ride, from the gate we know what ride you paid for. If we see you on something else, it's more like who allowed you? That person is going to pay for it, and nobody wants to pay for that. We also, there's a system where it's Nigeria, so financial reward is important to people. So I understand that in some cases, people feel so good and they enjoy themselves that they give cash.
Okay.
In those cases, it is declared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you make them declare tips.
Because if you come into work and now you're going home and it's like, where is this 10,000 from? Okay. So usually once it happens, it's declared. Okay. Right. So it's your money, it's fine. Okay. And it's not like somebody gave you 10K and now they're using the roller coaster. Like, we saw this because it's a business and all that kind of stuff. So that was how we did it. Okay. The other thing is, we have like a POS. So we really limit cash usage. Okay. But it's Nigeria, there's still cash, but it's accounted for usually just in the kitchen. Okay. At the end of the day, we have reconciliations. Okay. My accountants don't joke with the reconciliation. Literally every day we reconcile tickets with usage, with goods sold and all that. Okay. So that's how we're trying, at least for now. So
documenting everything.
And also making sure that the staff are bought into the dream. What we noticed initially was that we had people that were working. So for them, it was not about what you're doing. It's let me come and get my salary. So we had a lot of the theft, a lot of those things initially, because it's like, just give me 1.5 and I'll give you this ride. But as time went on and the people currently bought into the dream, it was a case of, because they will call me sometimes and be like, boss, we've not really seen that many customers this week, or we don't like it. Should we go outside and do some marketing ourselves? And it shows that they've bought into so that's how we made sure we documented, we reduced cost, but also we have people that have bought into our dream.
What do you think is that defining thing that made them buy into the dream?
I think it's me leading by example.
Okay.
There was nothing that they wanted to do or that I asked them to do that I didn't do. Okay. Right. Especially because in the initial stage, it's like, I would jump inside the gutter. I'm like, let's clean this gutter. It's after a while, they're like, you don't worry, Oga, sit down. But it was more like them understanding what it meant. Okay. And them actually, so during Christmas,
parents have time for their kids.
Yeah, like during Christmas, we're closing by like 9 p.m. But the beauty was everybody was very happy to be there. Okay. Because I think I mentioned on the pod one time, there was a lady who came one time and she was just so happy to experience such a thing. Okay. And everybody was happy with her. And so that's what keeps our staff, I guess, in the dream. Okay. Saying that, we want to do something. Come, do it here. And then take pictures. Tell everybody about it. Come back, bring your friends. We made you happy. We made you happy because somebody put this establishment here to make us happy, to make you happy. So we keep our staff happy, and because of that, they keep people happy.
I love that. It's giving Disney. So if Disney ever wants to come to Africa, there is a manager here.
my hope is that they do. My hope is that they do, yeah. Okay. If they do,
are you writing to them or anything?
No. Okay. Why it's all blip in the world.
Yeah, true. And boy, what's that thing you say? You miss all of the shots you never take.
Yeah,
you can put yourself on their radar.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so we'll get into the finance stuff now. Okay. So Isaac is, I guess, a multidimensional person. People have questions around finance, which we've answered, right? So Isaac, we have a couple of questions, but I don't want us to get into questions. There's some topics that we can just talk about. So What's been your experience being on the wrong side of Ponzi schemes? I think that's something with the economic situation is rampant.
Yeah.
What's been your experience? What advice do you have?
My advice is when it's too good to be true, it's not true. Like if it's too good to be true, then it's not true. That thing. My second advice is by the time everybody starts talking about something, run.
Okay.
By the time everybody starts talking about something, run. So I'll be honest. I'll be very real. This is like the thing with Ponzi schemes is that some people do make money. You just have to manage your risk well, right? So I'm not an advocate for Ponzi schemes. So for most people, I just say by the time everybody starts talking about that one thing, run. If there's no regulator behind it, run. If there's nobody that you can hold and say this person is in charge, run. Right. I was burnt by a Ponzi a long time ago. I tried to not remember, but it wasn't easy. It was very terrible. It was just pure human greed. I saw something that was too good to be true and I tried it and it turned out to be too good to be true because, risk management was poor. So if it's too good to be true, leave it. If there's no regulator, leave it. If there's nobody you can hold, leave it. But most importantly, by the time everybody is talking about that one thing, leave it.
Okay, so on the other hand, if many people are not talking about it and you know it's a Ponzi scheme, should you partake in it?
I wouldn't say do, but like I said, risk management, right? I'll be very honest, risk management. Don't do it. But if your body is really pushing you, use money that if it goes.
Not your last 1 naira.
Not your last 1 naira. Maybe if you've invested in like something and you're getting dividends, you can divide your dividend into 5 places. Use one small part to do it. If maybe your uncle dashes you 200K, you can remove 10K.
Okay, not the old 200K.
No, 10K and do it. If it goes, you can, because at the end of the day, it might not go. Right? Most times it will go. Don't be deceived. But if you can hedge your risk, but avoid at all costs. But if your body really does want to use money that if it goes, you won't cry.
Okay. So Isaac, money.
Yeah.
How are you? So I think maybe I should give you a bit of context.
Okay.
So while you're running TFG and before that you were, you had a job as well, like a 9 to 5, right? So you lost that job, so you were let go, right? How have you been managing your money, like yourself, your life? You don't look like you're poverty stricken. You look like you have cream. So how are you managing that? Basically, what advice do you have for people who maybe are having to manage their funds more because of the way the economy is?
Okay, so honestly, I'm going to try to be as honest as possible. When I initially left 9 to 5, I got a severance.
Okay.
Right. But the thing was that luckily for me, because I've been investing since I was young, I was never actually living on my salary.
Okay.
So throughout the time that I have been working, I've been saving. I mentioned this on the pod before. It was really funny. But I usually save and invest 90% of my salary.
I did not know this.
Well,
90%?
Yeah,
wow.
Ever since I started working, because I had never been in a situation where I did need my salary.
Okay.
So what happened was over the years, it was just, money going into different things. Like I bought MTN at IPO, for instance. I had shares for a while. So that helped. So when I did get let go and there was a severance, that was also cool.
Okay.
Because then I was able to push that forward.
Okay.
So a lot of my income up until that point was from backlogs of investing.
Wow.
But from that point, my savings started saving me.
Oh.
Because there was nothing coming in. And it was very difficult because I had to start liquidating assets to be liquid every month. And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like having to sell, for instance, I had to sell, and I'll try and give this a timeline so maybe it helps.
Okay.
So I left in February.
Okay.
The severance was there, but I had to liquidate some Tesla shares that held me till July, which was okay. I had to cut down on my monthly expenses. That was the most important thing. Because all of a sudden, like I mentioned, no more cinema visits, no more eating out,
no more prawns.
No, I still had prawns for a while. For a while.
Okay.
Fruits took a hit.
Okay.
Yogurt took a hit. All those things started to, reduce. Apart from that, I had a chef. So he helped to manage the cost of eating out.
Okay.
What people don't realize is that 5K today, 7.5, 3.2, 4.8. It works out a lot more than you think.
Okay.
So I was able to know exactly how much I was spending on everything.
Okay.
So that helped. So I knew what I was spending on food, which was the most important. Then from food, I reduced going out really.
Okay.
I had a lot of shares that I started to sell off to make sure that I had money monthly.
Okay.
And then, at that point, I got to touching the severance and just making sure that I could go month to month.
Okay.
But most importantly, I cut down my lifestyle.
Okay. So the advice is cut down your lifestyle.
No, the advice is know exactly what you're spending on.
Okay.
And then you can then adjust that accordingly. I think most people, and I find that when I talk to people about money management and stuff, they don't know what they're spending on.
I'm guilty.
Yes. So it's like people cannot actually account for where money is going. And I think that's more important than what is entering.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter what is entering if you don't know where it's going to finish. Cash is the life flow of a business.
Yeah.
I see my life as a business.
Okay.
Right? So I know what is entering every month. I know where it's going.
Okay.
For instance, I stopped paying for DSTV. That was when I realized that it's not that deep. I wasn't watching DSTV that much.
Okay.
Right? I really wasn't. All of a sudden, Netflix was more appealing than the cinema. Real talk. All of a sudden, before I used to take Greek yogurt every morning, like parfait. All of a sudden, I was like, maybe I can just take oats. Oats is cheaper.
Do you get?
Like real talk. And so these were practical things. Before I used to go to Makoko every month.
Okay.
I'll get like fresh seafood and all that. I remember going to the doctor. It was like, what protein do you take? I take only fish. Time I went back 3 months later, I was like, I started taking chicken.
Frozen chicken.
I started taking frozen chicken. He said, well, try to keep it a fresh spoon. I said, brother, is the carton of chicken I can afford that I'm buying. Even within the chicken and all that hierarchy itself, it used to be initially at the early stages, it was 1 carton of chicken, 1 carton of turkey. After that, it became 1 carton of chicken,
half carton of turkey.
After that, it became one more. We buy turkey when we can.
No, but this is so relatable, boy. It's not nice. This is not nice. What the economists do to us is not nice.
It's not nice. But at the same time, right, you have to manage. I was able to, again, the oats came in. I started to eat a little bit more. The money that I used to use for DSTV, I switched it to the gym. That helped me better. Obviously, by doing Fit Farm, you now eat less. So
no, but you eat less, but you're eating higher quality.
Yeah, but you're eating higher quality, but you're eating less overall, which is good.
Okay.
And then now at least you know that you're eating chicken, rice, or whatever. Then what else did I even do? I drastically cut down on eating out in Lagos.
Okay.
I started to pay attention to how much money you spend. There was a day I went somewhere in Lagos with my friend, and we spent 43K, just 2 of us. That was the day that really annoys me. Maybe before, when you have steady income, it wouldn't bother you so much. But that 43K would have fed me for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
No, real talk, because I can break it down.
Okay.
The 43K would have gotten me, it would have gotten me 1 kilo of chicken, 1 kilo of turkey, 1 kilo of beef. And I mean, there's always rice at home. So that 43K would have spread out. So not like I'm saying always cut down, but you start to pay attention to where money is going.
Okay.
Similar with DSTV. No, but I wasn't watching it. That's 29K a month.
What? DSTV is now 29K?
No, at that time, I think it was 20 something. That was when they started to increase it for football. I want to watch ball, but I can always go to the bar.
The other places. Oh, the bar, okay.
Yeah, and then all the other places too. So, I got rid of that. I think that was really how I was able to manage. Okay. I really had to start selling off stock. Because I try to be very honest, because people think that the problem with finances, people are not honest about their finances. Yeah. They'll just tell you broad stuff. But really, I cut down what I was eating, cut down where I was going. All of a sudden now, I was available to my friends at home. Before, if you want to see Isaac, let's go here. I have this restaurant I want to try. Let's do this, let's do that. There was a period where for like almost every weekend, I was at a new Lagos restaurant.
Wow.
After that, like I said, I have a chef, which now works out cheaper. After that, I now realized that, I have light to come to my house. I'll tell the guy to cook. We'll find something to eat. After that, I realized it's okay to suggest to your friends that when they are coming, they should buy drinks or buy something. You see, the funny thing with us Nigerians, we're all rich. We're all very rich. When
nobody wants
somebody to visit you, you think that you are Dangote. Let me cook. After that, I realized you've come here 3 times. Not once have you brought something. But yet you finish, you say, Isaac, thank you. No. No, not anymore. It's not like I'm trying to be wicked, but you should bring drink when you're coming.
Yeah.
And what you'd start to notice is everybody around you starts to adjust, right? Realistically. So friends will come now, they are bringing drinks. Now they are bringing maybe food or something. Fun fact, I'll tell my friends, if you're coming to visit me, don't buy ready-made food. Come with like
Food stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
food
and
stuff.
then
Why? Because I know that I will keep it after one.
Okay.
And also two, it makes more sense for both of us. Even if I don't keep it, I can give it back to you. You can cook it.
okay.
It's cheaper. The 15K you would have used to buy 3 plates of rice. If you buy 2 kilos of turkey, everybody has rice at home. I'll cook the rice and all that stuff. So realistic stuff like that was really what helped me. And then also my expenses are not that high.
Okay.
Normally, I'm a simple man, right? People, anytime I enter Lagos Market or Makoko or all these places, they look at me and they're like, this one, I'm going to cheat him. I'm going to call price. But I promise you, by the time I'm done haggling,
Jesus.
that's how I actually make friends with these women. Because they're like, uncle, then price buy. And I'm like, see, forget what you're seeing. It's also why, like,
forget what you're saying.
It's also why my parents were comfortable enough to send me into the market for TFG and stuff like that. Because it's like, I might not look it, but trust me, I will sit down with a market woman and will haggle because I know that you're cheating me. And before, maybe if I had money, I would allow you. But now, that 1 naira to you is also 1 naira to me. We have to find a balance.
Yeah.
People take it for granted. People really do. You go to market, they tell you 10K. You know it's not 10K, but you be like, no. But if you tell me 10K, we'll start at 2.5. Wherever we are going to settle, we'll settle because I know what I'm willing to pay. So little things like that. I just essentially lost shame in terms of spending. People have too much shame with spending. If I do go out with my friends, I'll joke about it, but this is what I'm willing to spend. And then if you want to spend anything more than that, we can, but me, this is what I'm willing to spend and I'm not going past it. I find people are too embarrassed to talk about money with friends. And also I have good friends who I'm very honest with. So everybody knows everybody's pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm not going somewhere and we're buying Dom Perignon.
Not go it, and then you're dying inside. And then that person is thinking, doesn't even know anything is wrong.
Also, I now started doing this thing where if we're going anywhere and it's like, send Isaac the money or something.
Okay.
I wouldn't, like before, I wouldn't like chase you up for the money.
Okay.
I still wouldn't now, but let's understand that money needs to come back.
Okay. Interesting. The thing you said about shame, I think is so true because now, if I go to any supermarket and I pick things and I get there and the price I saw on
I'll put it back.
I'll be like, don't worry, thank you. Like, and nobody's ashamed. No, well, me personally, I'm not ashamed anymore. I don't mind. It's okay. Think I'm broke.
It's true. It's true. Really. Like I put things back a lot now. Like sometimes I'll pick up rice, beans, all these things, and they will give me a price, and I say remove it. You can't beat me. It's what I'm going to pay for. Remove it. If it's the 2 kg that is this price, give me 1 kg. And now I'm also comfortable entering markets. Things are cheaper.
I love that.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, final question that I have for you is so the emergency fund that you talked about.
Yeah.
How did you develop that over time? Any tips for people out there?
Yes. So my major tip is that your savings and your emergency funds are different.
Okay.
Very, very different. And then I also have what I call my 1 year money.
Okay.
So I throw money forward every year. So when I was younger, my dad had this thing where he would say, do you have any spare cash at the end of the month? We'll say yes. He will say, okay, throw it to next year by this time.
Okay.
So apart from savings and long-term savings, even if it's just 5K or 10K, throw it into something that by July next year, that's when you have access to it. That throwing could be maybe into a particular stock or something, but just money that you don't need, right? And then another thing I tried to do was I try to, at the end of every month, I try to hit zero on my accounts.
Okay. What does that mean?
What I mean by that is I spend and I account for everything I'm spending. So I don't like having free cash at the end of every month in the sense of I don't want to know that there's just 25K in my account somewhere. That I don't know why, but I know next month now I have extra 25K. That's 25K at the end of the month. I'll put it into something so that I know that even if it's 1 week alone, I know that from the next month I can account for exactly what I started with.
Okay.
If it's 100 naira or 200. So practically, if I have 100K at the beginning of the month, after all my expenses, if on the 31st, I have 10K.
Okay.
I'm not just going to say I'm starting July with 100K plus that 10K. No.
Oh, okay.
I would hold that 10K and start July with 100K again. So that way I'm able to. I know it's difficult.
No, I'm saying because I don't do that.
Most people don't. So
to me, it's like, yeah, free money.
Most people, exactly. And the concept of free money is hard to track.
Okay.
So that's just what I do. Okay. So yeah, the long-term savings thing for people, divide your income, right? And know what exactly you're saving for, right? So if you want to save 50K in a month, maybe save 40K into regular savings, put 10K into emergency fund. If you have a job or an income, try to first of all build your emergency fund before you now start to save regularly, because that emergency fund will save you. Most people just have savings, so by the time anything happens, they've pulled it. And with the way Nigeria is right now, it's your savings that is saving you every month. It's very tragic. It's very bad. like I save 50K, by the end of the month, I'm pulling out the 50K.
19th of the month.
A piggy vest, for example, will tell me, please, we'll charge you 30%.
Charge
it. Is it always alive you will charge? So, like, I don't have the money.
Yeah.
But it's not good because you can't build discipline, you can't build a track record that way. So if you have an emergency fund, then it's easier. I know people will tell you things like 60-40, 50-30, 20. I believe all that is crap. I think that what we should all do is tailor finance to yourself. If you're earning 100K and spending 80K, you cannot save 20, you cannot save 60%. Because what will happen is, just like we said, by next month, you've pulled it again. But if you're earning 100K, how much can you realistically save? What is your savings target? Is it like, I want to save 100K in a year? Okay, that's fine, that's possible. But you can't be earning 100K and saying, I want to save 1 million in a year. How?
Armed robbery.
Exactly, carry on. So you have to be realistic with yourself, and then you have to be realistic with what you can actually do. I, as a person, can afford to save maybe 10% of my income. I will do that. Other people might be able to save 90%, like I was doing when I was working. I can do that. But again, not everybody can do that. For instance, how much is my own rent compared to other people? How much was my car? You don't know. I didn't say on here whether it was maybe somebody else that was paying for my fuel. So people have these different advantages they won't tell you. Right? And I'll be open. Why I could save that much was because I wasn't really paying that much in rent. Right? My expenses were maybe just me. I didn't have any girlfriend that was giving half my salary to. So
you didn't buy Bone Street?
I didn't used to buy Bone Street. Fun fact. The lady I was dating, I didn't used to give her money. I used to buy stocks for her. And I told her, if you want the money, send it. So it now became a very funny dynamic. Because it's like, okay, I asked you for this much. What do you want to use it for? Bone Street. I don't have Bone Street's money. I can get you Access Bank worth that money.
I love that
if you want it, sell it. And then that was when I realized everybody knows what they are doing. Because she can see the money and she won't sell it. So I'm like, so why do you want me to give you the money?
As a woman,
if I gave you, you won't do it.
As a woman, there's money that when they dash you, you can buy Bone Street. Then there's money that you go and save.
See, the funny thing is, even like my dad used to say this thing, people used to use you as their passive income source, and you don't know. Somebody is at home every day knowing that there's somebody at home knowing my salary is 100K, but I know somebody that will add 20K. You that you're adding that 20K, do you know what you could use the money for? Real talk. So by the time you start to do things like that, even when we started our podcast, right? One fundamental we had was 50% of whatever comes in is invested back into the pod. Whatever we want to do with the rest of it, we can. But 50% goes back into the pod. And it has helped us. Because it's now like, now that the money has come and we've invested it, do we really want to? Just like the example I gave with the Bone Street. And I tell most guys, right? For guys, if you can, that money that your girlfriend is asking for, put it into an investment and give her and see if she sells it. And then you see who is really playing who. I'm not saying everybody will do it. But I'm just saying it gets easier to see that kind of thing where it's like, so why do you now want me to go and buy it? When if you were giving that money in something else, you wouldn't do it. It's not fair. While young. So those kind of things. Tracking where your money is going, but most importantly, having a long-term savings account. And don't be ashamed to say no to requests. Don't be ashamed to say no while building what you want. We know black tax is a popular concept. But we only look at black tax from the family side. Nobody looks at it from the societal expectation side. I'm a guy. I must drink every weekend. I'm a guy. I must go out. I'm a guy. My babe wants bone straight. I'm a guy. My babe this. I'm a guy. I'm a woman. I should look. At the end of the day, right? If you have something you're saving towards, that should be more important than all that. Okay. Like I've had to tell people sometimes that I beg. I'm saving towards buying this particular thing. I cannot afford this right now. And that's fine. I'm shameless like that. People look at you and say, but you're driving a car, you look nice. It's like, bro, I can do this because I told somebody no.
True.
Right? I didn't have a job for this long and I wasn't begging any of you for money because I knew what I was doing there. So we should be shameless with our goals. We should be shameless with saying no towards random expenses. And then that way you can end up building your long-term saving plan and then having your short-term savings. When you now have those two, start investing.
Okay. So I had a question when you mentioned that if you at the end of the month if you have 10K left in your account, you save it, right?
Yeah.
How then do you manage the just in case maybe they jam my car? Like, where do you get the money from?
Yeah, all that will come from my savings now.
Okay.
So what happens?
So it's not if locked savings where
no,
you can't.
In some cases it is locked, but I always have money that I just put into very liquid stocks.
Okay.
Just in case, right? Like I don't know if I can mention. I'm
no,
not
if you want to, you can.
I'm not saying financial advice, but something like a Jai's bank that is very liquid.
Okay.
You can move up maybe 10 kobo today, 20 kobo tomorrow. Okay. So money that, for instance, I have money that is, let me keep my mental health money.
Okay.
Which is, like you said, in case I'm driving and my tire should explode, in case police has held me, or in case last man has done this. Once I've paid them, I pull it out from those kind of places.
Okay.
What I just try to avoid at all times is just having money lying in my account, because that's where temptation starts.
True.
Like now I have 200K and it's just the 15th. Oh, more. Before you know it, by the 22nd now, I'm at home, I'm crying.
Yeah, true.
So it's like,
I can relate.
So I try not to have money just there. Everything is usually accounted for with small leeway.
That's interesting. So my second question was, are there any tools, apps, I don't know, that you use? If you want to mention them, you can.
Yeah. So my stocks, I buy foreign stocks with Bamboo.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the process. You can easily liquidate. That one is good. I buy local stocks with Meristem.
Okay.
I invest, my savings and all that kind of stuff is with Figivest, obviously. They have the locked, the safe lock.
Yeah.
So I have a safe lock that matches on my birthday every year.
Nice.
So that I know that the money I'll spend next year, I have it.
Okay.
What I end up doing.
Wait, so the money is not for you to go and flex?
That's the irony of money, because you would think that if you give yourself 1 million to spend next year or 2 million, that when next year comes, you will. But when you see that 1 million has come and you didn't die last year and you've made, even if it's just 50K on the 1 million, you will roll it back.
Sure.
You will probably take out the 50K and you just realize that there's really nothing I want to spend 1 million on, and you roll it back. I'm not saying that's always the case.
Okay.
Sometimes I indulge.
Go and buy PS5.
Exactly. And I can't even afford that one yet. But, little things like that. So I put money into Piggyvest to, have like that. And I also mentioned stocks, like with Meristem, for instance. If I have free cash at the end of the month, I'll just go and buy something.
Okay.
Right. And hold it. And then even if it's only 10 naira you gain by the time you sell, right after all the fees and everything, even if you only gain 10 naira, it's something to, imagine if this month I put 25K in the stock at 1 naira. Last man holds me next month. They ask me for 15K. I give them and I go and sell maybe just 600 units of the stock to get back that 15K. You feel good. You feel smarter than everybody. You feel happy. So that's
because if you were sitting in your account, that's when you say, oh, let me go and buy cool still.
And then by that day when they hold you
there's no money. Awesome. So we've basically come to the end. Oh,
fantastic.
I think it's been a really informative episode. Any last bits of advice that you have for young people running a business or just trying to survive in Nigeria?
Yeah. I think most importantly, remember that personal finance is personal.
Okay.
Wealth is not that far from you. It actually starts very easy. It's more accessible than you think. So most people don't know that banking stocks, for instance, are cheaper than probably Gala Gala is 250 for one. One GT stock is 44.5. I don't mean to sound like those cringe financial people, but really and truly, and I have a video on YouTube talking about this. If you start with just 5K a month, you'll be surprised where you'll be in a year. Right? So nothing is too small to start with for investing. Don't be ashamed to cut your quota according to your size. There is no need to be a big man outside, but at the end of the day, you're sourcing your life from different people. If it means saying no to certain things now, do it. Right? Say no and build yourself. Have your long-term goals. Be realistic with yourself. You know what you're making. You know where you want to go. Be realistic with yourself. In terms of business owners, before you start a business, I beg you, make sure that you understand what you're getting into. Nigeria right now is tricky. Everybody wants to eat first, then everything else comes after. So it's now the time to start a business. Be very sure before you start. That's very important. But when you do start, know that you're in it for the long haul, right? Treat yourself as a business. Let you be the brand. So wherever you go, let people see you along with your business and know that this person stands for this, so this business stands for this. Don't be one of those. A lot of Nigerian businesses are sole proprietorships. They don't have to be. Try to build systems so that you don't have to be there all the time, right? Do something that would outlive you. Let it not just be if I'm not there and I sign paper now, nothing will happen. You're surprised how many businesses
run like that.
So make sure there are systems in place, checks and balances. Your business is not too small for you to start that. For Road to 30, we're a business, right? I have checks and balances with Dolapo. We have checks and balances with a third person, right? Where we can come to decisions. So it's always like that. No matter how small your business is, have checks and balances, have processes, so that no matter what happens, you can sleep well at night. But most importantly, as a Nigerian, is the word dignity. Stand for something. We're known to be very. What sets everybody apart is usually quality. Like if you look at Odun, Ewene, and those people, you can see what she stands for as a person. You can see how that has led into everything else. Same with Paystack. You can see what they stand for and how that has led into everything. Same with a lot of Nigerian banks and all that stuff. If you watch a Segun Agbaje talk or an Ike, you can see what they stand for and how it has led into everything else. We all look at Tony Elumelu's videos and all that stuff. Apart from all that, you can see that he stands for something and how he has built that into everything. You're not too small to stand for something, right? Stand for something and let it lead into your business. If I meet Iwalola, I want to be able to know that Iwalola stands for quality. She's doing something, there will be quality in that. Don't just look at it as it's business I they do. You look at some people, you're doing a business with hair and all that stuff. But your Instagram, you're not putting effort into it. You're messaging out, you're not putting effort into it. Somebody will DM you, you respond as if I'm begging you to take my money. Like quality, stand for something. Most importantly, quality. But show that in whatever you're doing business-wise. And hopefully, not really over, hopefully, Nigeria will allow your business to grow. Also, try and look outside the Nigerian market for any business you're doing.
Biggest tip.
Look outside the Nigerian market. We don't have money like that here. People outside might though. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Isaac. I've personally learned a lot. I've laughed a lot. Everybody here behind the camera has been laughing. I really appreciate you coming today. Thank you so much, Isaac. So for everyone listening, I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as possible, as much as I have. You can follow Isaac everywhere. We'll put all the links in the description box. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.